All right. The thing is, listen. So then now, when my pastor calls me, when Bishop Shaw calls me and said the Lord said this, or apostle say the Lord said do this. All right. They're watching out for my soul, whether I agree with it or not, whether I like it or not, whether I'm not confident enough or am not. The point is to still go in, do it. All right. So, and why? Because if I don't, then what's that jeopardy? My soul. Because see, if I die and I didn't do it, when I get before the throne, my works can't justify my faith because I didn't do it. Okay? Hebrews chapter 10. I'm sorry. Hebrews was it cheap? Was it? I messed it up. Yeah. 13 and 17, right? 13 and 17. I'm sorry. Hebrews 13 and 17. All right. Obey them that have the rule over you and submit yourselves, for they watch for your what? Souls, as they that must what? See, that they may do it with what? Watch this. And not with what? For that is what? For what? It won't make sense on everything. All right.
Rule over you.
The one that have the rule over you? Yeah. All right. Go to 1 Corinthians chapter 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and 28. Because God set an order in the church. All right. All right. For God has set some in the church first what? Secondarily what? Thirdly what? Your pastors are the teachers. That's why if a man is a pastor, he has to be apt to teach. If he's a bishop, he has to be apt to teach. He said, I put these in this place to have the rule. All right. They have the rule because they're going to watch for your soul. I got some over them. That's why you got the apostles and then you got the prophets. All right. So when they have the rule over you, they say, hey, this is what you need to do for this to happen. When things aren't going right in people's lives, and I say, hey, this is what the Lord said, this is what you need to do, and then they don't do it, then they wonder why the situation keeps repeating itself, or why they keep going through and going through. Because the way out is by doing what God has required of you to do. All right. And it's not, and the thing is, most of the time it ain't even hard to do. It's just that we fight in our minds. We do. So, man, spiritual warfare is tough. All right. For 2 years, I fought about a woman being a pastor. I did. All right. I fought. But guess what? I ain't sleep for 2 years. Lord said, I ain't going to let you sleep. Because I called you to something else, and you allowing this debate in your mind to hinder what I've called you to do. All right. So I ain't going to give you no peace. And he didn't. I had no peace for 2 years. Finally, I said, Lord, whatever your word say, I do it. He said, fine. Guess what he did? He sent me right back to the same word that I heard 2 years before that. Right back to the same word. He said, okay, fine. All right. Now go do it. He put Jonah in the belly of the what? Didn't let him move. So sometimes we in situations, it seems like we get good. God bless us for something. Then as soon as we get blessed, all these bills come in, and it seems like we right back in the same situation. Amen. Got this going on. God blessed me with a job, and all of a sudden I can't afford this, can't afford that. It almost seems like you're going up, but you really ain't going nowhere. Amen. Instead of you going up and down, you really just stepping left and right. All right. You're stuck in that same scenario. Why is that? All right. Because you don't listen. Won't be a doer. Oh, I've been there. 101 times. All right. After a while, you will get tired. You cannot listen. You won't weary God. Okay. He'll weary you. All right. In that area. And so then when you do it, right, then the powerful thing about God is when you walk in it, then the manifestation of your prayers begin to manifest right before you. When I left the woman pastor church, I had been praying I wanted my family saved and my brother and all them saved. And, hey, man, some of y'all I didn't even pray for. I was praying for everybody else. All right. But I didn't know that he was grooming me to be a pastor. All right. I didn't know that. Other people did. Other people knew. All right. I was just walking. All right. All right. What I'm saying is you walk by faith and not by what? Don't worry about the side of it. All right. Worry about the side of it. Lord told me, he said, some people will hear what y'all say, but won't follow. All right. Because there are certain things on the outside that is still manifesting. And therefore, the people won't come to the house of God with you. They'll start, but they won't continue. Because as they're walking, something triggers them, and they'll step back. Say, no, never mind. I thought you was. Yeah. There are certain, and when you start putting away them things, they'll see. Well, she ain't here tonight. She was a little sick today. Sarah is a prime example of that. All right. Sarah, when Sarah first came to church, when I first met Sarah, man, everything was on 10. Everything with her was on 10. I'm telling you, her cell phone ring. Oh, my gosh. Girl, you all right? It's your cell phone. Why you don't know your ringtone? All right? Everything was on 10. So you know what I did? We put her around the saints. And you know what started happening? She seen how y'all, the women, y'all women, all y'all, you too, so sweetie, all y'all. All right? She seen how y'all was just calm and at peace. And I want this. What? And not one of y'all, but 5 or 6 of y'all, 7 or 8 of y'all, Jasmine. All right. Coming to the house and seeing how First Lady and Sister Maxine get along and laughing. And I don't even laugh like that. All right. Then her and Sister Maxine got close. Amen. Then found out, man, Sister Sarah kind of funny. All right. But when she seen how y'all conducted yourselves, all right, she began to see the light of God in y'all. And guess what? She followed. Yep. She followed. That's right. He said, this is how we was going to know my disciples, that we were his disciples, by the love we have for the one for another, for the brethren. He said, man, and so guess what? When she seen that y'all wouldn't live in a certain way, y'all wouldn't, and she was like, she was worried about church clothes and all that. I said, no, you all right, girl, just come on. And listen, she was so intrigued and so at peace, and she said, man, I ain't never had this. Listen, last week, she bought all the food for the church. All right, and bless Sister Kim and bought all the food for her household because she seen y'all giving so much. Y'all was giving her rides. That don't mean much to y'all, but to her, that was everything. All right, because she couldn't get around nowhere. And now people taking her around for free? What kind of people is these? All right, that allowed them to come stay at their house and come to the church and all that. All right, and she changed so much. She obeyed the word. She heard about the baptism, and she obeyed that word and did what the Lord told her to do. She told us. She said, the Lord told me to come to choir rehearsal. That's what she told us. She said, didn't she say it? She said, the Lord told her to come to choir rehearsal. I said, well, you going to want to sing with us then. All right? And she sung, and she did what the Lord told her to do. Whole family showed up. Everybody in her family showed up except for one. All right? Why? Because she did it. Listen, certain things, it ain't got to make sense today. Your ways are not his ways, okay? There are certain things the Lord told me to do. Okay, Lord, I'm just going to do it. I go do this and go take care of that, and then all of a sudden all these doors started opening up. All right? Didn't make sense when I started. Oh, but when I got about halfway through, you could see the end of the tunnel. Man, all right. We used to say that, if I knew then what I know now. We used to, we always say that. You ain't got to know, just walk. Just walk it. All right. The doctrine is about walking. He said, I am the way. So I have to make sure I'm not walking in the doctrine of devils, the doctrine of the commandments of men. And sometimes that man is us. Sometimes that man is me. I can allow the world to still plague me. I can come from the world and still I can come into the church and yet come into church and try to get right, but still have a worldly mind. Amen. Amen. And that's what happens. Amen. But when God starts calling you higher, you start putting stuff away. All right. God start calling you higher, you start putting stuff away. I put a lot of stuff away. All right. Boy, I used to race down there in Florida. And I used to buy all 5-speed transmissions. I ain't want no automatics. I ain't want none. I was speeding everywhere. I had to always do at least 100 when I got on the highway. Man, I had the low profile racing tires with the kit. I had the whole thing down there. My window tint was so black, right? It was too black. My window tint was so dark. And after 8 o'clock at night, I had to roll the windows down just to back the car over because I couldn't see out the windows. Yeah, I got my tent was so black that the cop gave me 4 tickets. He gave me 1 for each window. He did. He pulled me over, gave me 1 ticket for each window. All right. I had that illegal limo 5% something they called it or something like that. Matter of fact, you had to pay under the table to get it put on there. They wouldn't even give you a receipt. I'm serious. You know about it? And the Lord told me I was on my way to church. About a month, he said, get rid of that car. And I was like, what? I was like, man, I only got like 2 payments left. He said, get rid of that car. And I didn't. And I was on my way to Bible study. And I made a left-hand turn. And boom, somebody hit the back end of my car. Took the bumper went across the street. All right? They just hit right behind the bumper. The car still ran fine. I went, took the bumper, put it in the back seat. All right? Got my information, drove on, church. Right? Thought everything was going to be good. Right? 2 days I drove the car with no bumper on it. All right? Because I had to get to work and stuff. I take the car to the collision center. Right? Guy sitting there, he examined the car. I said, all right, man. He said, well, it's going to be about, you need about $6,000 worth of work. I'm like, $6,000? But you just hit the bumper. All right? I go get the rental car. I'm on my way back. And the guy called me. He said, hey, man. He said, I just want to let you know your car got totaled. I said, that's impossible. He said, nope. He said, her car was able to get under the bumper and just touch the trunk and moved it an inch. And because of that, my car was totaled. All right. I had 1 payment left. When the Lord told me I had 2, I had 1 payment left. 1. All right. Lord said no. So you know what? I said, well, it's time to upgrade then. So I was like, I found a Camry with the LED lights, Tiptronic, all right, 6-speed transmission on the wheel, all right, with the racing car seats in there. I was finna go all in. I was looking for the V6 engine, the whole 9. I go to get the car, right? I went to another dealership. The guy said he had a better deal for me for the same car. I drove all the way out there to go get that car, and that man had lied to me. I was so mad. He told me he brought this little 12. I almost beat him up. I said, man, I ought to whoop you on sight, man. It's like y'all go to church. All right. I said, I beat you down in front of your own store. All right, for lying to me like that. I got on the phone to call the people at the other place. I'm on my way to come get the car. I'm standing there, and there's this ugly silver RAV4 on my right hand. I mean, that thing was ugly. All right. I looked at it like, oh, my God, why would y'all make that? All right. And I got on the phone, and the Lord said, I want you to get that car. I looked at my phone at first like, something wrong with T-Mobile. I know I just hear what I thought I heard. All right. And as I stood there, the Lord said, I got souls that need to be saved. I got people that need to be picked up. I got equipment for you to carry. I want you to get that car. All right. I sat there, and the man came out and said, I got a better deal for you. And I didn't even look at the car. I was like, how much for that? And even my friend that was with me, he looked at me, he said, man, you all right? I said, no. But how much for that? He said, man, I said, it's a Jesus thing. Leave me alone. Go somewhere. All right. I said, do you have it in another color? I said, Lord, can I at least change the color? All right. He said, get the car. And I sat there. Every part of me wanted to move. Every part of me wanted to walk out of there. All right. But I knew I heard God. All right. I knew whatever he said had to come to pass. So I drove off that lot and probably got ripped off a little bit. All right. And bought a black RAV4. I drove off the lot, and Bishop Shaw, who I had only met one time, had to go preach somewhere. And guess what? They didn't have a keyboard. Or the place they went, they didn't know if they had a keyboard or speakers. They didn't know what they had. And when I bought that, I had to drive off the lot, drive back home, grab my speaker, my keyboard, and all my equipment. Had I bought that Camry, I wouldn't have had enough room to get that equipment in there. 3 weeks later, all right, the Saints was trying to get to Savannah, and nobody had transportation. All right. And I thank God because I said, yo, you know what? Let's ride. He said, man, you got a brand new car. I said, this is what it was for. All right. That was the first time I met Apostle. First night. All right. I could have made a decision. I could have went and got that Camry, rolled out clean and everything. Probably would have died. Yes, ma'am.
But Pastor, you still could have put them in your Camry, couldn't you?
No.
You just couldn't put your equipment, because the RAV4 is small. They're not big.
Oh, no. The RAV4 got the hatchback. You can lay the back seats down and everything. Girl, I put all kind of stuff in there. Girl, you ain't seen this? You ain't seen the space in the RAV4s?
I don't know.
She ain't seen us come back. Man, listen, man, you can put, man, so much stuff you can put in there. It don't look that big till you put them seats down.
Oh, I'm just saying they look small to me.
They on the outside, do, don't it? Yeah. Lay them seats down. Boy, you got a whole world back there.
So when you had your cool car, in other words, when
I had a
cool
15.
car, you couldn't, was you picking people up or no?
I was trying to pick them up. I was. Man, yeah, I picked people up. I had 10 kids in there one time. We was doing Friday Night Youth. I was packing them up in there. I said, man, we get pulled over. I'm going to jail. These kids going to get deported or something, man. Everything going to go wrong tonight. All right. But the Lord said, I want you to get this. Now, guess what? I probably could have put people in that Camry. But the Camry would have been for me. That's what I wanted. God said, but if you're going to do my will, all right, you got to do what I ask. It was. Because you know what happened? Guess what happened after I bought that car? The Lord said, all right, now you can go build that house. Because you wanted that house. So give me the car and I'll give you the house. All right? That's what he said. He said, give me the car and I'll give you he said, take the car. You give me what I asked for. You'll do what you need in that car and you take the house. And guess what? I still got that house. Matter of fact, all right, if it wasn't, and I thank God because I was telling myself, I said, man, I done put all kind of stuff everywhere and 401k and worked out some things. And, man, the Lord allowed that house. Man, that house, I bought that house for I'm telling my business a little bit. Facebook, YouTube, we love y'all in Jesus' name. All right. I bought that